However, the democratization of the class was not easy.
I think that the most challenging aspect of the class was figuring out how to make good on this aspiration to have a democratic space in the classroom. There were the challenges in getting the students to take up the democratic opportunities that were offered, the opportunities to decide on the grading scheme, on the structure of the syllabus, and so on. But if I'm honest, I'm very used to hierarchical teaching as well, and even seminar teaching can have its own subtle hierarchy, and so it's finding ways to break through that.
There were the challenges in getting the students to take up the democratic opportunities that were offered, says David. In this respect, a particularly daunting difficulty was the students' inexperience with democratic forms of pedagogy.
This inexperience derives from the fact that students had been socialized into the so-called banking system of learning. The latter, which is epitomized by the lecture style of teaching, regards the teacher as the gatekeeper of knowledge, and the students as empty vessels to be passively filled with deposits of information. The banking model then sets up a hierarchy between the teacher and the students, where the teacher makes decisions while the students obey their instructor.
Years of schooling under the banking model had induced students to internalize their passivity and their subordination to the teacher. Of course, students did have and exercise their own agency. However, the latter is conditioned by one's own previous scholastic experiences. The longer has one been socialized into the role of takers as opposed to makers and shapers of their own education, the more comfortable this role has become.
It's difficult to justify to yourself, given how long we've been conditioned to, like within educational institutions, that to believe that we have a legitimate say in what a course will look like, or what our marks will be derived from.
As a result, the implementation of democratic pedagogy was...
I think for me it was initially quite a challenge, just because, well, not that David really forced us into it, it's not like without it, or if we didn't contribute then he wouldn't have had anything for us to do. But in terms of what you've been, since kindergarten in grade 5, you've come up with this entire this is a curriculum and this is what you have to learn, and all the way through university. So initially that was a challenge, and I think I would have been better able to meet it if I'd been presented with something like that earlier on in my academic career.
Another difficulty with the implementation of a democratic form of pedagogy was the discrepancy between the teacher and the students as far as experience and knowledge are concerned.
So, needless to say, I was a little bit hesitant to challenge anything really, because here I am thinking, well, the instructor, David Kahane, has been studying this for so long, he's probably more, well, certainly more knowledgeable than any of us in the field, so I was mostly willing to defer to his sort of design of the course.
This discrepancy in expertise and knowledge existed not only between the students and the instructor, but also among students themselves.
I think an aspect that kind of influenced the class was the mixture of undergraduate students and grad students in the class. I think that had a huge impact on how discussions happened and a huge impact on our interaction with David. And I just say that mainly because there were a couple people within the class that you knew were grad students just in the way they talked and just in the way that they formulated their arguments or formulated their thoughts. And then I could also tell explicitly which ones were undergraduate students, because there was just that kind of sense of this is all brand new to us.